Top 10 Most Terrible Events in History. Number 10. Holodomor. The Holodomor was a man-made famine in Soviet Ukraine in 1932 and 1933 that killed millions of Ukrainians. It is also known as the Terror Famine and Famine Genocide in Ukraine, and sometimes referred to as the Great Famine or the Ukrainian Genocide of 1932–33. Number 9. Rwanda Genocide. The Rwandan genocide, also known as the genocide against the Tutsi, was a mass slaughter of Tutsi, Tawa, and moderate Hutu in Rwanda, which took place between 7 April and 15 July 1994 during the Rwandan Civil War. Number 8. World War I. World War I, also known as the First World War or the Great War, was a global war originating in Europe that lasted from 28 July 1914 to of November 1918. Number 7. The Slave Trade. The Atlantic slave trade or transatlantic slave trade involved the transportation by slave traders of enslaved African people, mainly to the Americas. The slave trade regularly used the triangular trade route in its Middle Passage, and existed from the 16th to the 19th centuries. Number 6. Attack on Pearl Harbor. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a surprise, preemptive military strike by the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Service upon the United States against the naval base at Pearl Harbor in Honolulu, Territory of Hawaii, on Sunday morning, December 7, 1941. Number 5. Atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The United States detonated 2 nuclear weapons over the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, on August 6 and 9, 1945, respectively, with the consent of the United Kingdom, as required by the Quebec Agreement. Number 4. The Black Plague. The Black Death, also known as the pestilence and the plague, was the most fatal pandemic recorded in human history, resulting in the deaths of up to 75 to 200 million people in Eurasia and North Africa, peaking in Europe from 1347 to 1351. Number 3. September 11 attacks. The September 11 attacks were a series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks by the Islamic terrorist group Al-Qaeda against the United States on the morning of Tuesday, September 11, 2001. Number 2. World War II. World War II, also known as the Second World War, was a global war that lasted from 1939 to 1945. The vast majority of the world's countries, including all the great powers, eventually formed 2 opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis. Number 1. The Holocaust. The Holocaust, also known as the Shoah, was the World War II genocide of the European Jews. Between 1941 and 1945, across German-occupied Europe, Nazi Germany and its collaborators systematically murdered some 6 million Jews, around 2/3 of Europe's Jewish population.